special place where I live with no disguise. I'm gonna taste my soul, I'm gonna dance with love, give myself that magic ride that I've been dreaming of. There's my story in a nutshell, sure that it's just begun. There's no telling what might happen now that the Lord and I are one. I wake each day with the rising sun burning in my heart. Each moment's an opportunity to make a brand new start. I'm gonna heal my heart, I'm gonna open my eyes, look into that special place where I live with no disguise. I'm gonna taste my soul, I'm gonna dance with love, give myself that magic ride that I've been dreaming of. I'm gonna heal my heart, I'm gonna open my eyes, look into that special place where I live with no disguise. I'm gonna taste my soul, I'm gonna dance with love, give myself that magic ride that I've been dreaming of, been dreaming of. I've been dreaming of. I'm gonna give myself that magic ride, that magic ride. Keep the dream alive. I'm gonna give myself that magic ride, that magic ride. Our reality, we can choose our life. We can choose to love one another, we can choose the light. We can choose to see what we want to see, we can let it go. We can choose to let ourselves be more than what we've known. Standing here with our open hearts, dancing with the wind, each of us choosing our own part. Let the play begin. We can heal our relationships, we can heal our life. We can heal the bitter pain that rips the world with strife. We can heal the gender war, we can heal our children's world. We can heal the angry nations as the peace flag is unfurled. Standing here with our open hearts, dancing with the wind, each of us choosing our own part. Let the play begin. Or we can choose a shadow world and hide behind the night. We can build a wall of fright, never let love through. Sometimes we choose to die inside, to close our eyes and deny what's right. We can choose our inner light, the choice is up to me and you. Standing here with our open hearts, dancing with the wind, each of us choosing our own part. Let the play begin. We can choose our own part. We can choose our part in the fantasy. We can choose to open our hearts. We can choose our own reality. We can choose our own part. We can choose our part in the fantasy. We can choose to open our hearts. We can choose our own reality. We can choose our own part. We can choose our part in the
Good morning, Napa Valley. What a beautiful day today in paradise here in Napa Valley, just starting that crush season we've got here. It's a beautiful time to be here. The fall is upon us. I'm Reverend Jay Lang. So happy all of you are here. Welcome also all of you online. And we'd like to begin our service with some music. So let's welcome Bodhi Starwater.
Music. Who likes music? Well, you know, when love is the theme, love is my decision. You guys know this song. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else tell me to stop. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. Second verse. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that brink. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. Once I decide to change my is my decision. My decision. Wow.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bodhi. As we move forward and know that love is our decision, it becomes part of who we are and also our vision and mission. So if you'll look up on the screen and read with me our vision, we are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A glorious affirmation for us today as we step into the world, as we join in community today and are always part of inviting love into every situation we're in. So thank you for being a part of this vision and mission. Before we begin our regular service, I want to give you a few announcements. First of all, you'll notice that we're starting to hand out these kind of sheets, and the idea behind it is that we can shorten up announcements if you have all the links and the information. And most people go, oh no, what did you say? So that's another thing. So if you forget, just the most important thing we have coming up is the donor appreciation celebration that is this coming Saturday at 4 p.m. All are invited. We do ask that you, if you haven't reserved a place on email, we did send out some email invitations, but some people did not receive those. So there's a QR code here. There's a sign-up sheet at the guest table. We just want to know you're coming so we have a sense of how many are coming. We have about 35 people coming so far, and we expect probably up to 50 to 60. So please join us. It'll be out in our courtyard, and we'll have wine and bubbly water and appetizers and a short message of gratitude that we'll have. So it'll be a fun afternoon, and what cool weather. It's supposed to be like 76 degrees that day, so it'll be really nice. We are celebrating Latinx Heritage Month this month, and knowing that the contributions in this valley and in this nation have been tremendous, and we honor that heritage and that continuing influence and contribution of diversity that they offer us in all ways. And then today from 2 to 4, if you're interested, out at 3rd and Soskell, there's a person, her name's Teresa Cahill, that's been doing these just peace activism, the season for nonviolence, and people hold up signs or just stand out there and wave people and send love to each other. So you're welcome to join her as part of that. I know the Unitarian churches put out some promotions, so they may be out there too as well. So it'd be fun if you want to join between 2 and 4, 3rd and Soskell. You can make signs for peace or for earth stewardship, take care of the earth, whatever you want to make a sign, positive sign about that. So. And then coming in October, we have a really fun event and a powerful event with Reverend Sayota Bell. She's from Santa Rosa, but she's been doing these forgiveness workshops that uses the ancient Hawaiian practice of ho'oponopono. And it's a beautiful way of reconciliation, of both self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others. And that person that you're forgiving does not have to be there. If you're doing self-forgiveness, you need to be there for that. But, it's really beautiful, and I really have a lot of admiration for Sayota and Reverend Sayota and the work she's doing. And I think you'll find it really valuable. And that's on October 22nd. And then the following Sunday after church, we have Bodhi Starwater, who you know. And Bodhi, you want to talk about your sound oasis there?
Indeed. Can you hear me? Yes. So some of you came before. We did it a couple of years ago, and I create a sonic ceremony where we can just basically drop into a sacred space together for a long period of time and let our parasympathetic nervous system slow down. So we breathe and relax. You can sit in these comfortable chairs. Some people choose to lay down, and I bring lots of instruments and create a vibratory field in which we can drop in and be in presence together. That's the gist of it. And I'm going to demonstrate one of those in just a minute, one of those portals. We go through numbers of portals that we open into safely, come back, and we can journey into our consciousness, into realms of healing, whatever is needed, whatever your intention is for the journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. And how many people went to one of his other sound journeys so they know the value of it? So it's really great. Thank you. And I think we have two different times. So you have 1 and I have 12:30. Is 1 o'clock better?
Ooh, I think 1 o'clock's better because that gives people more time for lunch.
Okay, so people eat. Okay, we'll change it to 1 o'clock.
Right? Am I right?
Okay, all right, okay.
After all the information from Jay, you got to go.
Okay. And then also I want to let you know in November, so this is way out, but the reason why it's important to talk about is we changed the date for the Volunteer Appreciation Dinner. And this is something that's, something the slides got, well, the date has changed. It doesn't say Volunteer Celebration Dinner, but it's just cut off there. But we changed it to November 11th because of a scheduled conflict, so save the day for that. It's going to be a fun evening. We're going to have entertainment and just an honoring of all those people who've been in service, in addition to what we're doing on Saturday, which is also honoring people for time, talent, and treasure. But this is just going to be a fun event, so looking forward to that. And now we're going to begin our sacred part of our service. Know that prayers are available to you either by filling out prayer requests, online or in the lobby, or staying here after the service and meeting with one of our practitioners who would be glad to give you a brief affirmative prayer in the sanctuary. And now we begin this sacred part of our service.
So I just want to welcome each and every one of you here today to allow yourselves just to drop into that deep spiritual zone where you know that God is all there is. And with God, love is all there is. And so today we know that love wins. I know that love wins. I know that as a practitioner for 20 years, it's been embedded in my brain that God is all there is and that love is all there is. So that means love wins. So with all of this training and practicing that we do as practitioners and as people in this congregation, what we're really doing is spiritual alchemy. We're changing those crazy thoughts that life is not good, or today I'm not feeling as good as I was yesterday, or something happened. And we're allowing that spirit to come into us and opening to that knowing that we are one with God always, no matter what happens, no matter what situation we're in, that we can open to that knowingness. I'm not going to test to this because we will be tested on our journey. Last year I broke my back and it was not fun. And after I got over feeling sorry for myself and boo-hooing about how terrible my life was at that point, I decided to let go of all that and just let God in and let all the prayers come in that everybody had been praying for me. And miraculously, things started to happen for the good. I'm not 100% right now, but I'm doing really good. So good that, in fact, last week I had a birthday party for myself, and it was the best party I ever had. I invited few close friends and good family members that really touched my heart. And it was just so wonderful to see them all and for me to be experiencing that joyful time. And then a few days later, I go out in my garden and I notice I've got these little ducks, these little stone ducks sitting in a row. And what the heck is that? And each duck had a little bracelet on them and a name: Janice, Mary, Linda, and Dale. And they all had little affirmations on their necklaces. So I'm wearing my ducks in a row right now. And I want to just thank you all for being my friends and being here with me in my spiritual alchemy and growing into this life that I am right now. It's so precious. And so I say to you, love wins. Believe it. It's true. Thank you.
Now there is a song. I'm wearing my ducks in a row. Come on. Let's be co-writers on that one. Let's create an affirmation out of that. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Love is the opening door. What an easy theme I have a few songs about love. This is from a long time ago. Some of you may remember it from the 70s. It was a big hit in the 1970s. The words I have to say may well be simple, but they're true.
Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. You know what I mean. Have your eyes really seen? You say it's very hard to leave behind the life we knew. There's no other way. Now it's really up to you. Love is the key we must turn. Truth is the flame we must burn. Freedom, the lesson we learn. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? 'Cause love is the opening door. No one could offer you more. And love is what we came here for. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen?
Beautiful.
Love is the opening door.
How beautiful. Thank you, Bodhi, so much. So our theme this week, this month, has been love activism, and today in particular is let's let love win. And I love the title because when you think about love, it's not really competing against anybody. It's not opposed to anybody. But it's us as humans sometimes that resist it or push it away or think we don't deserve love. And in order for love to win, we've got to let love in. We've got to allow it. And what I love about love is it disarms people. It catches them off guard before they have a chance to defend themselves. If we can hold that love, if we can be that love and allow it to be the truth that we know that is all. We as humans put conditions and strings on love, but it's the divine source of love that is unconditional. That means without conditions, without strings. It is just pure love that we can let in. One of my favorite Aesop's fables is an argument between the sun and the wind. And they were arguing over who was most powerful. But both, we admit, are powerful forces on this planet. But they said, okay, see that man down there? He's got his jacket on. And the wind says, I bet I can blow it off of him. And the sun goes, I bet I can get him to remove his jacket. And you can't. So the wind blew its might in us. It even got a coldness in it to get him to try and blow that coat off. And instead of taking it off, he bundled in and he held on and he bent over. And the sun's turn came out, the wind stopped, and the sun came out bright and it was warm. And what happened? The first thing he did is he took off his jacket. So it is this warmth of love that is more powerful. Yet we sometimes, when we have a struggle or a challenge or a doubt, we tend to pull ourselves in instead of allowing the freedom. And love is this liberating force, this liberating energy that wants us to be free and to be open and connected to all of life. We are going into a time, now that we're still in the portal of the fall equinox, but we know we can already see the sun is setting sooner and the sun is rising later. So the days are becoming shorter. And I don't know about you, but there was a time in my life when I would dread that change. I would be concerned about the cold and the dark and the wet. But I don't anymore because I recognize it as a rhythm of life. And we spent Thursday night, a dozen or so of us outside celebrating the equinox. And it was really a beautiful time to be connected to the earth, because the more we can be connected with the earth, we know there's these rhythms. We know there is a loss, a death, and we know there's a rebirth after that. And to know that it's a natural cycle, nothing to be afraid of in our own life, no matter what time of the year is, when there is a loss, when there is a change, when there is a shift. We know it is just a natural rhythm of our lives that we allow. And what I know about this love, this unconditional love that we talk about, that often you hear me quote Meister Eckhart with that quote about it's a lie that any talk of God that's not comforting. But there's a line before it that I want to bring out now, and that is, no one is forgotten. No one is forgotten. And then he goes on to say it's a lie, any talk of God that's not comforting. But no one is forgotten, and that's so important to remember that love is available to us when we're willing to let it in. When we're willing to open to it, the purity of it, the simpleness of it, that there's no conditions in that pure love that we can find, that essence of love. Ernest Holmes says that nothing can keep us from the love of God. What a comfort. What joy to know that all is well with the soul. That we find this peace and this wellness within us, no matter the conditions. Think of it as the ocean that might have waves on the top of it, turmoil, but underneath, in the cool depths of the ocean, is calm and peace. We can always find that calm and peace. There will be times our life is not made to stay in the depths, but it's a good rest. And then we can go back up and navigate the waters that may be turmoil. And we carry with us a love and a peace and a remembering of spirit in all ways. This whole idea of being an equinox now, this portal of equality and balance when there's equal days and nights. Now, that's not necessarily true here because we're further north, but along the equators, literally this time of year, I spent a year in Hawaii, and literally at the equinoxes, both spring and fall, it's 12 and 12, 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. It's this perfect balance. And it's really beautiful and Hawaii is an easy place to feel that balance. But we can feel it here too. We can be connected in this portal time to feel this balance, this equanimity, if you want to call it. And I think this equanimity can carry even into the longer nights, the longer darkness, and feel this sense of peace. And all the words like equity, equality, equinox are all at the base word of Latin, meaning a quiet, tranquil state of mind, an evenness of temper. And I always think of it as a divine order that runs through our whole life. That behind what may seem like chaos, may seem like challenges of health or wealth or well-being, but behind all of that is this peace and this equality, this equanimity, as Buddhists would call it. And there's this love that we know too. My concern is that when we hit some trouble that we tend to close in, rather than open up to support that we might have around us. We can imagine or we can sense this love within us, the divine, but it's also good to have human beings around us that will listen and hold us and hold our wholeness, our peace, and know the truth for us when we can't sense it. In my email this week, if you received it, I talked about home-cooked food. We all probably, I know some people didn't have a consistent source of love growing up, and I acknowledge that. But most of us experienced a home-cooked meal. Maybe we were ill and a special soup was given to us, or our favorite meal on a special day. And as adults, we tried to recreate some of those recipes or gone to a restaurant and ordered them, and they were good, but they weren't the same. And what if what we added to the food, what was missing was the love that came with it? And what if that's the secret ingredient for our lives, that we can add love to everything that we have? The secret ingredient, the one that disarms people when they don't even know that it's happening, until they go, whoa, there's something different here. There's something going on. I don't know if you've been heard about the blue zones, as they're called. There's a Netflix special called Live to 100, The Secrets of the Blue Zone. And this series goes through and interviews people all over the world that there's a large number of people who live to be 100 or older in these communities. And they go to these communities and find out what's common in these communities. And it's a great, first of all, I just love shows like that explore culture. But they found this one town, I think it was in Italy, where they found that the people that went to church every day, and they were Catholic, they're going every day, could live longer than their counterparts. And they go, wow, I wonder if it's a religious experience. Then they realized that the church was uphill from them. So walking uphill was a factor. Maybe it was church also, okay? So, if you live downhill from church, it's a good thing. So, one thing that's a factor is moving. Keep moving. Doesn't matter what kind of movement. Keep moving. But the other thing they found is it was at church, but it was also in their neighborhoods, that when people were outside and they were walking and they were talking and they were breaking bread together, they were eating, there was this sense of community and love that they found. A lot has been talked about the Mediterranean diet, or this diet and that diet, but they found more studies on the Mediterranean diet is these people, they eat this great food, but also they live life differently. They have more space in their lives. They have more time when they eat together this food. They have more community and more camaraderie, more sense of support. And what if the secret ingredient in living to 100, or no matter how long you live, living a good life is love and reaching out in that way? We continue this week to talk about the balance that we get, but also about love activism. Because we know this love, and we stand strong in this love, does make a difference. The activity of love in the world. We don't have to have signs and be marching, but there are certain things we can do to be a love activist. And Stacy Russo, who I've been talking about this month, who was a librarian who found that reaching out to people created differences in how they lived. And so she became and wrote a book about love activism, which is an amazing book. And she talks about 8 elements and I've talked about 5 of them: mindfulness, creativity, service, empathy, nonviolence, for the past 2 weeks. And today I want to talk about hope, self-care, and equality. So let's first of all talk about this idea about hope. Hope is something interesting because in the past I have been resistant to using the word hope, because hope is one of those words that's like blind faith. You hope something happens. But if you don't do anything about it, if you don't do your spiritual work and take action in the world, hope is just that. It's nothing. But who reframed this for me is a woman named Gabrielle Ottinger. And she had a process called the WHOOP series. And the WHOOP is really this amazing thing I've talked about before, but I want to talk about it again because she talks about it's okay to wish and dream and hope as long as then you do the next few things, which is set your intention. And then not only set your intention, but consider what your obstacles might be. Consider what might get in your way, and then a plan to address those kind of possible obstacles. Now, some people in New Thought, positive thinking they are, don't want to think about what could go wrong because they want to just go, oh, it'll be okay. I know that Spirit will provide and I'm not going to worry about it. But then the first time they hit the obstacle, up comes the cloak and they're down. They go, oh no, I'm not worthy. I'm not capable. I did something wrong. I didn't think right. I didn't pray right. Perhaps what we need to do is just consider what might go wrong. It doesn't mean it will go wrong. It doesn't mean all those obstacles will come forth. It just means we need to consider it and plan for that. Now, this is football season, my favorite sport. And every week, every football team, college, probably high school too, but I know more about college and pro, they consider who their opponent are, who their opponent is. And they look at what kind of offense and what kind of defense they have, how they play the game, and they have a plan to overcome the obstacle of the other team. Now, what I know in sports, half of the teams, all the teams have that plan. Half the teams, the plan doesn't work. They lose. That's the nature of sports, right? So everything doesn't always work out perfectly, but the idea is that we are in the process of learning and growing and becoming more open to Spirit's way through us, even if it doesn't look like winning. We know that love wins no matter what. And our outcome, the way we had it pictured, may not be exactly how we thought it might be. And we continue to open up in a new way, a new opening. We learn from what we experience. And it opens our heart. And what if we don't get everything we want, but we still have a life of love and contentment and friends and to be considered and to be appreciated? What if that's all we get? I think that's plenty for me. I don't know about you. This being Latina Heritage Month, I wanted to bring up two people that had hopes and they had obstacles and not everything worked out perfectly for them. The first one, her name is Jovita Adar. And she did most of her work in the early 19th century, so some time ago. She was a Mexican-American journalist, activist, and suffragist. And she worked with her father's newspaper, La Crónica, I think is the way you say it, as a platform to speak out against racism and support of women's and Mexican-American rights. In the early 1900s, she fought injustice, formed the League of Mexican Women, and she wrote an article condemning President Woodrow Wilson's decision to send U.S. troops to the border. And in response, the U.S. Army and Texas Ranger came to her newspaper office to shut her office down, and she stood at the door and wouldn't let them in. This is the U.S. Army and the Texas Rangers. They didn't know what to do, so they left. They came back later and did shut the newspaper down, though. But she stands strong in her belief, and that, to me, that's hope that she had that something would happen. She hit obstacles, and she overcame those obstacles, and she made a pathway for women, for Mexican Americans, for all people, for future civil rights. This was in the early 1900s that she did her work. What a powerful person. Did she get everything successful, everything she wanted to accomplish? No. There's still struggle for Latina and Latino rights in Texas and everywhere. She made progress towards it, though. She made a difference in what she did. And the next one I want to talk about is Jose. Oh, there's some beautiful art of her done. She's admired in that culture. But as is Jose Andres. Many people have heard of him. I had heard of him, but I didn't hear the beginning of his story. So he grew up in Spain learning the craft of cooking and moved to U.S. in 1991, became a world-renowned chef. He owned his own restaurant. When the earthquake happened in Haiti in 2010, he wanted to get a group of people to go feed them. Okay, there are millions of people there to feed. You just can't get on a plane and go feed a few people there. So he had so many problems, so many obstacles to get that first one done because he didn't even have the equipment to do it in, to feed millions of people, but he got other chefs and people to donate money and donate food. And also he couldn't spend a year of fundraising. It had to happen now. The earthquake had happened. And within a week he was down there and he fed 3.5 million people that first. 3.5 million people. And he went on to form the World Central Kitchen, which now provides hot meals to those affected by natural disaster to over 300 million people. You probably know of them because they were here. The World Central Kitchen was here during our fires in 2017, 18, and 19. They were feeding first responders. It became more famous when the Food Network star Guy Fieri was with them. But it started with his simple idea, his simple hope that he could feed people after the earthquake. In my mind, I'm going, well, it'd be nice if somebody could do that. Well, he went to action. He went past obstacles. And now his quote is, "We have shown that there is no place too far, no disaster too great for our chefs to be there with a hot plate of food when it's needed most." So that's amazing what he did. And this is hope. Is he able to do everything he wants to do? Probably not, especially that first time he did it. But he was able to overcome that, overcome obstacles, meet obstacles, and move past them. So this is what hope is if we're willing to do the work, to create our intention, to do our affirmative prayers, to consider obstacles and plan to get past it, the ways to do it. And what I love is sometimes I consider obstacles, and those obstacles aren't even there. I go, that's cool. I don't have to worry about it. But I had a plan if it was necessary. But it wasn't necessary. And it wasn't like me thinking that, this might happen, created that obstacle, because it didn't happen, right? We think we have to be all positive, and it's not true. We can plan for something different. So next I want to talk about self-care. Now, you've heard that term so much, but I think we need to be vigilant about our self-care. Last week I talked about the golden rule to love thy neighbor as thyself. But you know who we forget in that formula a lot? Is thyself. We love our neighbor and not ourselves. I also talked about the platinum rule about loving others how they want to be treated. Well, how about we love ourselves the way we want to be treated? How about we take the time to do that? The spaciousness to be able to take care of ourselves. And this is, when I talk about self-care, I talk about caring for ourselves in body, mind, heart, and soul. All aspects of ourselves. And that requires some space to do that. That can mean saying no to certain things or staying home at other times. It can mean creating space for friends to make sure you invite people over or have a space and be intentional about that. With people's schedules, you've got to sometimes plan things several weeks out to get to those social events that somebody you really want to connect with. But we do that. But there's also spontaneous things we can do after church, our fellowship time, or going out for lunch afterwards, or doing things together. I think that's part of self-care also. But we are the ones who know what is self-care for us. Michelle and I were out riding our bikes the other day. We bought an electric bike for her. And that reason, because usually when we were riding bikes, I wanted to go faster, and I felt like, so it works out well for her to have an electric bike, me have a regular bike, and now I'm trying to keep up with her. And it works out great. We went to Yountville, and we were on our way back, and going to Yountville was really easy. We stopped for coffee, and we're on our way back, and God, things were just really difficult coming back. I felt like, God, I'm out of shape. I did something, I don't know if I can do this or not. It was just a struggle. And I went, so 7 miles from our house to Yountville, so obviously 7 miles back. And about 5 miles into it, I just said, I got to stop and look at my bike. There's something going on. And I noticed that the brake was set and rubbing against the tire. So what did I do? I got back on my bike and decided I would just push through to keep going. Can you relate to that? It's okay. I'll make it. I'll just struggle through it. And I even, on the way home, rode by a bike shop. I mean, literally, the bike shop was right there. And I just go, only another mile to go home. It'll be okay. I'll just struggle. I'll just keep pushing. At any point, I could have stopped and created that space to take care of myself. When I got home, I looked at my bike and I saw that a wire had become disconnected, and it took me 5 seconds to fix. Sad, right? Sad. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I do that sometimes. I just go, I've got to get this done. I'm just going to keep pushing through. When in fact, if I stopped and got a little bit of rest, a little bit of wisdom about how to do it differently, or just some rejuvenation, I would actually enjoy the journey instead of feeling like it was a struggle and a push, right? To me, this is self-care. This is, and we are the only people that know the right kind of food for us, the right kind of exercise, the right kind of whatever, and we check in with ourselves. It is a process of being mindful about what is supporting us. And there's the other thing you can do is ask for help. The bike shop was right there. Hello. I could just roll right in and go, hey, there's something on my bike, And they would go, oh, there, right there. We can ask for help. We can get support. And sometimes support is just having someone listen to us. It doesn't mean that there's a solution for it. We know there's problems. There might not be a solution, but just to have someone listen. And so the final part of this love activism is equality. Now, Stacey Russo talked about equality in terms of feminism because that's her passion. Now, I'm just broadening a little bit to talk about equality for all, because if we want a world that works for everyone, we need equality. And I love the diagram here of 3 people getting a boost up, but is it working for everybody right now? No, it's not. So there's a different word we use called equity. And that makes the difference. Some people need more help than other people need. And we have to make that okay. It's not about being fair. It's about what works, what's going to help people, what's going to support them, what's going to create a life that works for them. And we also are not necessarily the people that bring those boxes or whatever help. We have to check in with ourselves about what is ours to do. But we're open to that idea. We're open to the possibility that we are the person to take action to help other people or to help ourselves to create this equality and equity. I read a story about Imelda Gomez. She's what she calls herself a gentrification activist. So she advocates for equity among communities of color, particular communities that are being gentrified. They're being sold to developers in big cities, and what was a community of kind of color replaced with a high-rise apartment that prices out many of the people of color that were in that neighborhood. She, from her early 20s, she was this aggressive, vocal, sometimes verbally aggressive, sometimes even physically, in marches and things like this, person who advocated for this. And she realized one day it was just not working for her, that she was not happy. She was always angry and upset, so she began to meditate. And in that meditation, she found just more anger that was both, she's the intersection of Latina and Black culture in terms of her heritage as well as being a woman. And she just felt she was angry all the time. And so she had this generational and ancestral anger. So she knew she couldn't keep running off that anger. So she decided to take a year off of all things and went to a Buddhist monastery and meditated. And then she stayed another 2 years because she continued to find that peace within her. And then she went back out into the world and restarted this activism, but from a place of peace, from a place of love. That doesn't mean her conversations with, say, a developer might not sound kind. It's clear. But it's not personal. It's about principle. It's about truth. It's about creating a world that works for everyone. She's coming with absolute clarity about what is highest and best. And also to find common ground with people. And in that common ground, they're going to find solutions together that work, that are win-win, or at least some way where alternatives can be found. Perhaps there's, some low-cost housing built into the development, or different kinds of housing, different ways of doing things. But what she says is, when in this discussion, when her activism in meetings and marches, she asks herself certain questions that bring her into this space of heart. She says listening is an activist practice. So she asks, can we listen from a place of compassion? Can we listen from a heart space? She says that a heart space invites in the gray, the pieces that are not apparent, and it realizes our shared humanity. So before responding to somebody, we can ask ourselves if we're able to hold that person as whole in our mind. The concept of holding an entire person flows from this heart space. So to be able to hold somebody we're talking to in this wholeness, in this love, and it flows out of opening our heart space. So her questions might say something like, how can we bring something more beautiful into this space? How can we bring something more equitable? How can we bring in something more just? How can we bring in more love? We can ask those questions too in anything we're in. What does love look like here? How can we bring more love in? And in that collective space, in that listening that she talks about, we can find the sense of equity, the sense of peace, the sense of love. We also need to find that space within ourselves for our self-care. And to find the hope we have, the dreams we have. Be willing to dream, be willing to open up and do the work necessary to create the life of your choosing. We know this is the activity of love in our lives, the love activism. We do that by ourselves, and we do it as a community, this work of love activism. Let us go to prayer. We know that as we are aware of this heart center, we know there is love. All the love we ever need and more. And we know this love is unconditional, without condition. For we know the source is the divine that is within us, and in this sense we know we are one with all. We know that this love is surrounding all people, in people, around this planet and in this universe, more than enough. And so we tap into this love. We allow this love to come through us. And we can be this source of loving others, to disarm them, to find a way to bring more love into situations. And let it be an activity, a spirit that moves. It is something that seeks shifts in the world, because we want to create this world that works for everyone. We know that Spirit through us creates this opportunity as we allow our intuition, our wisdom to guide us in all ways, and we know it is so already. We allow it to be, and we let love win. I release this into the law, knowing it is already so. And together we say, and so it is.
Are we on? Jay, you need to write a book. Isn't he fabulous? This song embodies love for me. Obstacle. Solution. Yeah, I think so. I think I need to hire a mechanic. Okay, so I woke up one morning, like at 4 o'clock in the morning. Anybody do that once in a while? And there's like a song in your head, there's a word, there's a phrase, there's a something going on, right? So I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning, and this song was in my head, 2-part harmony, just the chorus. And then I had to get the next 2 days. I just hiked around the hills and wrote the verses. And one of my best friends was just going through the empty nest thing. His daughter was leaving for college, and he was like, yeah, we're fine. And I could just see right through that, you know. Yeah, right. Anyway, so this song is for him and for love and for being there for somebody. It was early fall, and I awoke from a dream of angel voices in the wind. Story they told, I'll tell you now. Close your eyes, and we shall begin. A young girl asked her daddy one day, what makes the world go round? And he replied, 'tis love, my dear. And when this you know, your heart will be found. Well, she believed him, and she set her course, sailed to freedom like a bird, with love as her compass. If she ever got lost, her daddy would sing to her these words. Yea, though the seas may rage with storm, and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn. When this maiden came of age, she loved a young man full of dreams. He said, I must go and find myself, but I'll tell you this before I leave. Yea, though the seas may rage with storm and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn. Her life was full and great work she had done with children of her own. And when her daughter was afraid one day, she sang to her, you are not alone. For though the seas may rage with storm, fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail, wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn. Yea, though this tale is short and sweet, like rain that settles in the tree, where'er you go, no matter what you do, may there be wind that shakes the raindrops free. May there be wind that shakes the raindrops free. For though the seas may rage with storm and fires of doom may burn, I will ride a trail of wind and tears, and I will come for you at dawn, and I will come for you at dawn.
Beautiful song, beautiful song. This is a time in our service when we invite you to be part of the law of circulation. If we could have our ushers come forward. We know that that which you give is in circulation of giving and receiving, and that which you receive is of love and joy and peace in your lives. So we're grateful for that which you give to support our vision and mission, whether it be of checks or online donations or even texting, however it is, we appreciate it. So we take our hands and put it over our heart to represent that which we've given perhaps before today or that we give today. And we say the simple affirmation, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I receive. And so it is.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream Wall. This land
bless all that you've given today and all that you continue to give to this community. I hope you're able to be here Saturday because we'd love to recognize you and just, it's going to be a time to gather, a time just to count our blessings and to be grateful for all. So I hope you're able to make it. It'll be a nice time to gather outside. We also like to offer a blessing to those who might be here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we have a gift for you. Anybody here for the first time? Go. One person. Or we have somebody handing out the cards? So while we're waiting for the card, we'll go ahead and do our blessing for everybody here and for our newcomer. And also if you happen to be online anew, we appreciate you being with us today. So we raise our hands and say, we bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. So it is. So this little card that we started handing out, this will be a regular thing, and it has the little QR codes if you know how to use those, or links to register for things, to sign up for the donor appreciation, or for the sound healing, or for the Ho'oponopono workshop. So it's all right here. So take this, and if you have a refrigerator magnet, stick it up on that. We're starting that tradition again that's here. So, and please join us outside for fellowship, for coffee with your new or old timers. Is that what you say? What? Seasoned. Okay. Wise ones. Let's all stand for the congregational affirmation. Oh, practitioners, if you could come join me up here, please. Oh, no, you can stay off the step. That's fine. So know that if you are interested in a brief affirmative prayer after the service, just stay in your seat, and those who would love to talk with each other, go on out into the courtyard so we can have this as a sacred space. So please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
I am led by Spirit.
I am led by Spirit.
I am guided by wisdom.
I am guided by wisdom.
I am protected by love.
I am protected by love.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am here to be a blessing.
I am so grateful.
I am so grateful.
And so it is.
So it is.
During the song, you're welcome to move to the outside so we can say, love be with you. Or if you're in the back, you can stay right where you're at.
Love be with you. Let's breathe and breathe it in. Oh, love be with you. Love be with you. One time. Look at somebody. Love be with you.
Hey, good morning, Timothy. How are you? Good seeing you.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of Science of Mind principles with engagement and compassion in action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?